At first, I didn't know where I was, what it was. I discovered later, especially after the war, many years after the war, that Le Chambon was a most unique village in France. It is located at about 3,000 feet elevation in the Massif Central, in the central mountain chain in France, sort of isolated on a desolate plateau, very cold in the winter, windswept plateau. Agriculture was pretty rudimentary, but what made this village unusual was that in a country that is 90% or 95% Catholic, this village was about 90% Protestant. And the villagers, under the leadership of their pastor, André Trocmé, were inspired to live the Bible. These were very simple farmers, and they considered that the Jews were the chosen people of the Bible. They knew that they were hiding Jews. They also believed in helping, because the Bible says to them, help thy neighbor. If someone is sick, go and visit them at their sick bed. If someone is hungry, feed them. If someone needs shelter, give them shelter. And these people literally did so at great risk to themselves and their entire families, because what they were doing was illegal. If caught, they risked not only arrest for themselves, but for the members of their family, their children, expropriation of their property, and so on. So it was a great risk, personal risk, that these people did.
So, as I mentioned, unlike the previous 4 people, he's a survivor. And he wasn't he wasn't rescued by a person, he was rescued by a town. The surrounding area of Le Chambon, and excuse me if I don't pronounce it correctly, about 20,000 people. In the direct community of the specific town, I believe there was, I don't have that exact, I think it's about 1,000. And if you weren't unaware, there was a lot of civil war strife in France, 16th, 17th century, as a result of religion. The Protestants versus the Catholics. And this particular town is all Protestant, or mostly Protestant, in Catholic France now. And they remember what their ancestors, their forefathers went through, and they saw a correlation. And so they used the same routes that they used the same routes to get Protestants out of France as the Jews, or vice versa, I guess. They used Jews on the same routes they used to get the Protestants out. And so what would happen is, this is on a plateau, and when the Nazis were seen coming up, or the people of the Vichy government to come and look around and do some raids, they would take the children into the forest to look for mushrooms. And then when they were gone, they would come out. Now, unfortunately, tragically, there was one particular raid where he mentioned Pastor Trocmé, if I say that correctly. His brother was caught, who was a teacher, and the town physician was caught. And probably needless to say that they were executed by the Nazis. And a side note that I find very interesting is that in 1990, Israel recognized all of the inhabitants of Le Chambon and those of nearby villages collectively as righteous among the nations. In addition, on December 2007, they awarded 40 individuals with the honor of most righteous. And more recently, the French President Jacques Chirac officially recognized the heroism of the village during a visit there. And I was in France last week, and I went to the Pantheon in Paris, and that's where the heroes of France are entombed. And there's now a monument to the villagers of Le Chambon. And also last year, for Yom HaShoah, President Barack Obama, in one of his first speeches, made reference to the town of Le Chambon. So here's an example of not an individual or a few people aiding people who needed help, but a whole village. And we're now going to be introduced to, oh, and I want to say something. This is a quote attributed to the people of La Chambonne. The Chambonnais rejected any labeling of their behavior as heroic. They said, things had to be done and we happened to be there to do them. It was the most natural thing in the world to help these people. That theme is continuing. That theme of just that humbleness, of doing the right thing. Now I want to introduce you to Mr. Lipman. Again, he's a survivor. He was rescued. So once again, I have a picture of him and his son and his wife. Also pictures of him earlier, before the Holocaust. And he has a message. And I asked the students to listen, try to recognize the message.
Do you have anything that you'd like to say about yourself for the future, for your son or for your son's future family, if there will be any, or for the world in general? Do you have any general statements you'd like to make as somebody who's experienced such childhood trauma?
Sort of, you want me to basically summarize?
If that's what you feel like doing.
If that's yes. From my personal experience, and to people who are involved in my saving me, saving my life, I would like to mention to them that it is written in the Torah, whoever saved one life has saved the world. I had the very privilege that during all the chain of events that led to my survival, I have met wonderful people who had the courage to care.